Nigeria's poverty crisis. Okay, so I like to talk about our poverty crisis right now, and I like to talk about a way out of the current poverty dilemma that we are all facing. Before I go into this, Minister of Education Adamu says the federal government was against the January 18th reopening of schools but had to compromise. I knew this. You know, Ada, I said this from the beginning.
Hmm.
I said this from the beginning. Um, the federal government was put under pressure by different people, and they just had to open the schools. And I'm sure school owners that went to borrow money, who sent you to go borrow money? Last week, the minister had announced that the office was reviewing the January 18th reopening date for schools due to the second wave of the pandemic in the country. Many Nigerians expected that the review would lead to postponement of the date of reopening of schools. However, on Friday, January 15th, the Minister of Education released a statement approving the January 18th resumption date. Following the backlash he received from some Nigerians for approving the reopening of schools, Adamu, while speaking today at the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID 19, said the federal government had reservations about the resumption of schools, but had to compromise since it does not control all the schools. We all sat down, looked at the figures, and took the decision that the school should not open. Unfortunately, we have to state this because it's supposed to be a collective decision, but you must understand that the schools we're talking about, the federal government has only about 100 out of the thousands of schools. Now, here's the thing. While this is going on, comedian ONG said this: my son contracted COVID 19 last term, ONG reveals as he kicks against reopening of schools. The comedian has shared the story of how his 9-year-old son contracted the novel virus while in school last term. ONG, who is against the reopening of schools, disclosed his family's experience with the viral disease in an interview with Punch. The comedian said his wife and his first son got infected with COVID while looking after his second son who got diagnosed with the viral disease. I have two kids, one is in primary school while the other is in secondary school. Last term, one of my kids came home ill and was sick for a while. We kept treating for malaria but to no avail. We treated him for 2 weeks till he lost his sense of smell and taste. He had body aches and was excessively weak. It was at that point we discovered he had contracted the virus. He was about 9 years old at that time. My wife and I started taking care of him because we could not abandon him. He's our son. In the process of taking care of him, my wife also contracted the virus. It was war for us. Later on, his elder brother contracted the virus, the comedian said. I couldn't be separated from my family because going to an isolation center will mean separating us. The psychological damage alone was something else. We became a family of four with COVID. We had it at different times, so for over a month we battled with the deadly ailment. It cost a fortune, set aside the fact that I also got help from well-meaning friends who had contracted it. Some friends also helped in terms of medication and support. ONG kicks against the government's decision to reopen schools despite the second wave of the pandemic in the country. Big shout out to you, brother ONG. Well done. You try. You do well. Sorry about your ordeal, but please, you see, my problem with Nigerians is all of us who say we will not take my children are at home, they've not gone to school. But one person will go and want to go and do ajadudu, want to go and do Alasheju, carry all his children and go and put in school. Then the school will be making. You see, the schools too are also wicked. Right now, shouldn't there be an alternative online learning system in every school? Should we actually be making this an issue? Shouldn't this be something that we should all do, especially in Lagos, in Abuja, and all the busy cities. I understand the schools in places like Ekiti, places like Kogi, places like Jos, where the population is not like the population of Lagos or Ibadan. I do not believe Ibadan, Abuja, or Lagos should reopen schools right now in the midst of this pandemic. I think even Port Harcourt should not open schools. But we will not listen. Some people will take children to school, and then look at this boy. How did he get it? He got it from somebody else. Somebody brought it to school. So we all need to be extra careful with this. The virus is not what they are telling you it is. Don't worry, God will heal you. Yes, God will heal you. Do you know what it is like to have your whole body aching you for days? Do you really want to go through this? So guys, please, if all of you can decide that you are not taking your children to school, all of us can sit down and keep our children at home. I believe we'll be safer and better off for it. Or Ada, what do you think?
Seriously, I think all Nigerians should just come to that agreement. If the federal government notices that people are...
Even the federal government said they were forced to compromise. I was saying this.
You see, like, it's just so hard to make a case for Nigerians and also for the government. I think people at this point should just agree, keep the kids at home. I just feel for the poor children. These people, they don't even know what's at stake. They don't even care. The excitement of seeing
keep
their friends,
in Lagos, keep your children at home. You know, the funny thing is, if all the children go to school and they tell my children that they are going to lose a year, I have to send them to school. You understand what I'm saying? I have to send them to school because I don't want them to lose a year when their mates are not losing a year. But if all of us can, you see, one thing that is killing us in this part of the world is the fact that we are not together.
We are not united, yeah?
We're not united. The federal government is telling you that they were pushed, they were literally made to compromise. By the schools and the public. Schools in Nigeria today, with the fact that we don't really have the facilities to cope with this pandemic. We don't have the vaccine. Are people even willing to take the vaccine? They were listening to all sorts of comedians. Like there was one guy that I posted his video. You saw the video.
What video is that?
Oh, just check my second to the last video, where the guy came to talk about cancer and there's no vaccine for cancer. You saw that video. Those are the people they listen to. Somebody's telling you there's no vaccine for cancer. They tell you, say cancer is a virus. We are dealing with a virus and you are saying there is no cure, there's no vaccine for a disease that causes cells to multiply haphazardly and spread to other parts of the body. Then you are talking about HIV. Do you understand what HIV is? Do you understand what it takes to manufacture vaccines? So these are the people they listen to, people who will lie to them and confuse them. And at the end of the day, they'll say, oh, vaccines are bad, vaccines are bad. You don't want to go to school, you want to do all these things, and you don't want to wear masks, you don't want to collect vaccine. Someone said there's a vaccine for cancer. Of course, the cancers that are caused by vaccines, by viruses, have vaccines, like the human papilloma virus that causes cervical cancer, or the hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus that cause liver cancer. They have vaccines. But they'll just come there and talk nonsense and everybody will listen to them, and it's really, really mentally degenerating listening to some of these people. Now, I wanted to talk about Nigeria's poverty crisis. We're meant to have talked about this quite a while ago, and I don't know, for one reason, Ada has been very lazy, so we've not talked about this.
Really? Okay, I accept, and permission to still be lazy tonight. We'll have to carry it over to tomorrow, because we have the 3 more minutes before we call it a day on live.
Okay, Ada, can you just give me 5 minutes?
No, Daddy, please. You have just 3 more minutes.
Add 2 minutes on top of it.
No, Daddy, please, no. 12 on the dot and turning off your mic.
Okay, whatever. People rake you because they want to hear the gist, though.
Oh, really? They have to.
Well, anyway, let me start. Maybe we might continue tomorrow. Maybe Ada will allow me a bit. Global extreme poverty is expected to rise, or was expected to rise in 2020. And this was as a result of COVID 19. The COVID 19 pandemic is expected to push an additional 88 million people to 115 million people into extreme poverty this year, with the total rising to as many as 150 million by 2021. Depending on the severity of the economic contraction, extreme poverty, defined as living on less than $1.90 a day, is likely to affect between 9.1% and 9.4% of the world's population. Now, do you realize that out of that 150 million, Nigeria has 105 million?
Scary.
No. You don't understand. Out of 150 million, Nigeria is contributing 105 million people to extreme poverty. Meanwhile, we have so-called prosperity preachers. We should have preachers that preach poverty, because what we know how to create in this part of the world with no argument is poverty. How can the whole world have 150 million people in extreme poverty and our contribution is 105 million and we are okay? And we are okay. Ada, real quick, I know you're itching to turn me off. Go to worldpoverty.io. Just quickly type that, worldpoverty.io.
Okay.
Guys, wherever you are, I need you to check this. Okay? The first thing you see is we've updated our site to accommodate COVID-19. So right now, scroll down to you will see not choose a year. I want to show you where. Okay, World Poverty Clock, all countries. Can you see all countries?
Yeah.
Now on all countries, just scroll down to Nigeria. You can actually type Nigeria inside the all countries.
Okay. There.
Yes.
Mhm.
So total number of people living in extreme poverty right now is 90 million. 90.9 million.
Wow.
Yes.
43%. Wow.
43%. We've actually done well. We were on 50% at a point. So out of 150 million, we have more than half. We have more than half. The figure is not 105 million. It was 105 million this time last year. I don't know how we managed. I don't know what we did.
We borrowed.
I don't know how we got here, but we shall have 90 million. Now, if you Google countries like India, India's number has risen. India was below 3% before. Now India has risen. India has overtaken us. And this is all due to the pandemic. Let's also check out China. China, oh wow, China is not showing, not coming up with anything. Okay, China is below 3%. So China is still doing very well despite the COVID-19. Of course, countries like the UK will not show. Romania too has less than 3%, so no data would show. Ghana, I'm just trying to check some countries to give you the accurate figures. Ghana has 3 million people in extreme poverty. And that's 12% of their population. So Ghana is doing way better than we are doing. Also, we could check countries like Togo. Wow, Togo is doing worse than we are doing. Togo has 46% of its population in extreme poverty, but the figure is 3.9 million. You know, they're not as many as we are, but Togo is getting worse right now. So, so far in Africa, by volume, we have the largest number of people in extreme poverty, but by percentage, we're a little less than Togo. We were leading this before. Thank God we're beginning to come out of it. Not because we're coming out, because people are joining in. do, you, do you understand that? So countries like South Africa have 27% of their people living in extreme poverty. A number, the figure is 16 million. Still much better than we are. So I've basically checked almost all the countries. Let me just do a quick check on Kenya. So we just have some statistics in our minds to play around with Kenya. Yeah. So Kenya, what is it looking like? Kenya has 16% of their population in extreme poverty. I think so far, Nigeria is second to Togo. Togo has 46% in Africa. Nigeria has 43%. But we're still right there, very strong with regards to poverty. And now we sabi preach prosperity pass. Meanwhile, we sabi gather poverty. How can 90 million people be in extreme poverty? How can in our country as of today? Numbers have been adjusted. We do hope that this trend ends. And one of the ways that we're not talking about poverty now, we're talking about extreme poverty. By the time we go a little further and start digging into poverty, that is living on below $3.20 a day, then we could start seeing how big our poverty crisis is. Someone said, and we're still happy. We're still happy for now. It gets to a stage where there's nothing to eat and people might begin to eat each other. Then you realize that your happiness is only superficial. So that's as far as we can go. Thank you so much. I did say I was going to discuss this. Is there any way we can sneak in one or two calls? Okay, Ada, let me sneak in your comment. Let me sneak in your comment.
We'll continue tomorrow.
Aren't you going to give any comment, Ada?
We need to stop doing this at you're 5 minutes into the chat station. Okay? Tomorrow, Daddy, please.
All right, Ada, bye.
Alright, Daddy, please take care of yourself. Good night.
Great show it was. We're talking about schools not needing to reopen right now. And we're also talking about how to redeem ourselves from the curse of extreme poverty. And one of the things we need to do is we need to start thinking outside the box. We need to start thinking of how we can export things. I'm not very keen on building local cars, for instance, because there's no car you're going to build that will compete with Hyundai, that will compete with Kia, that will compete with Toyota, or that will compete with Honda. There's no way you can do it, because you need to understand that Hyundai, for instance, has Hyundai Heavy Industries that builds ships. They have money. Let me tell you how car companies work. You see, they make very little profit on millions of units. Now they have a lot of money for research and development. They have a lot. Toyota and Volkswagen are the world's largest car manufacturers. Sometimes Volkswagen takes over from Toyota. Let me check the accurate statistics. World's largest automaker. Let's just Google that. Toyota. Toyota number one, Volkswagen number two, just as I predicted. Followed by Hyundai number 3 and General Motors number 4. So now, how do we get these figures? How does Toyota sell that many cars? First of all, Toyota has money for research and development. They have money to mass produce and make very little profit and force their prices down. Now, when it comes to cars like Hyundai, Hyundai have a lot of money from the government of South Korea and also from Hyundai Heavy Industries. That Hyundai is also into other things, not just automotive manufacturing. So they can pump money, and they also own Kia. If I'm correct, let me quickly confirm this so I don't tell lies. Okay. Hyundai and Kia are both headquarters in South Africa, and Hyundai owns 33.8% of Kia Motors. Okay, so Hyundai owns a chunk of Kia, so I'm correct. Now, what am I trying to say here? These car companies have a lot of money to mass produce on a thin profit. So they have billions of dollars, and they have the technology to, they have the lines to produce thousands of cars every day. We, on the other hand, cannot match that. So whatever car we build will not be on the level of Hyundai or Toyota. But it will even be, there's a likelihood that it will be more expensive than Hyundai and Kia and Toyota, because we cannot build so many to cut down our profit. So we'll make, it's like somebody selling sweets and is making 5 naira a sweet and sells 5 million sweets. That person has made 25 million naira. Meanwhile, somebody selling gold earrings, each gold earring is 1 million naira, and he can only sell 10. So he has made 10 million naira, while the person making sweets has made more money. Let me give you an example. There's more money in the cigarette industry than in the diamond industry. I don't know about now, but I think I did this survey about 10 years ago, and at that time there was more money in the cigarette industry, despite the ban on it, than in the diamond industry. Why? Because that 5 naira that they are making on every packet of or every stick of cigarette, because so many people are consuming, the profits are higher than the profits in diamond, because fewer people are consuming. So because fewer people will consume Nigerian brands, we cannot join Toyota and Hyundai and make those marginal profits. Now also, Nigeria has a very heavy taxation system. We don't have power. We don't have so a lot of the money that's supposed to go to profit is and expansion of the business is going to go to tax, is going to go to producing your own generator and powering your own. So it's difficult to build. Now, you're also not going to make money. If you think you're going to make money by producing cars for Nigeria, you're fooling yourself. You only make money when you can export and bring in foreign currency. That's when you truly make money. Now, our custom duty is one of the heaviest and hardest in the world. For a brand new car, it was 70%. I don't know what they've reviewed it to now. It was 70%. Now, let me ask you a question. In Republic of Benin, it's 5%. So, in Nigeria, you probably get a Hilux for 25 million naira. In Benin, you get a GLE, brand new, for 25 million. Because all you need to do is buy it in America, put it on a ship for $2,000 or less, and clear it for 5% of its worth. And you'll be amazed that with 25 million naira in Cotonou, you'll be driving a 50 million naira car in Nigeria. So, is someone in Cotonou who has the opportunity of buying a Benz, a Range Rover, a BMW, or a Toyota going to buy a Nigerian-made car? Is someone in Dubai, where he has access to Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Bentleys and Rolls Royces, is he going to import a car from Nigeria? Is someone in the US with General Motors and Volkswagen and BMW and Mercedes Benz all having plants across everywhere, is he going to leave all those cars and import a car from Nigeria? So we need to understand that let's not focus on building cars all for now. Let us focus on exporting our agricultural produce. Let us focus on exporting our human capital resources. Let us, and by exporting, I don't mean you running to the American embassy to get a visa to run away. No, you can be outsourced from Nigeria if you have the right mindset and you have developed your mind and you've honed your skills with things regarding technology, computers, and all those things. And you can actually work across the world in an American company, for instance, even though you're domiciled in Nigeria. Those are the kind of things that we need to start exporting. We need to go back to our cocoa farms. We need to go back to palm oil. We need to go back to all the cash crops. Cashews. We need to go back to groundnuts. These are the things that the world needs. And sorry, someone's telling me call me. Why should I call you? I've said it, and guys, please bear with me. Someone called me today and was and Daddy Freeze, and I want to discuss something with you. Guys, from next week I'm going to take it seriously. You call my phone number, I'm going to charge you a fee. I need to cut down a lot of the nonsense going on. Now, guys, also, if I invite you to the live, I'll invite you. If I don't invite you, please don't ask to be invited. Thank you very much. Or you want to pay to be on my live, I will charge you. Now, what am I trying to say? We have our oil, I don't mean crude oil. I hate crude oil. As a matter of fact, it really annoys me. I'm talking about palm oil. I'm talking about groundnut oil. I'm talking about cashew oil. I'm talking about all the things that we can generate here locally that we can export. We still have coal from Enugu. We still have some of our mineral resources. We have our gemstones. I think we have a bit of gold and bitumen. I don't know what else we have. We have rubber plants. I know there was a time Dunlop was here. There was a time even Michelin was here. We need these things to be exported, and we need to be able to produce them cheap. You see, the trick is, you guys don't realize that the naira, 1 naira going for $500 is actually a blessing. You don't know. Sorry, $1 going for 500 naira is actually a blessing. It is a blessing that we don't understand and we don't know how to use. Imagine we are producing on this cheap dollar and selling we're producing on our cheap naira and selling to an expensive dollar. We'll be billionaires back again in 5 years. Thank you, Simplific. Palm kernel, limestone, tin. So we have a very weak naira. The problem is we are importing. So the weak naira is a problem when you are importing. But when you are exporting, it now becomes a blessing because you produced on a cheap naira. But when they are paying you in that heavy dollar. So we are at a position where everybody will tell you we're disadvantaged. No, we're not disadvantaged. Our disadvantage has actually carved out an advantage for us. And the advantage is we can now maximize on the cheap naira and earn expensive dollars, euros, and pound sterling by exporting what we produce very cheaply to them and getting the value of their own currency. That's why China and Japan always play around with their currency, because they want to produce on a lower currency and sell to a higher currency. It's simple economics. So I've just given you the formula of what is going to save Nigeria in the next 10 years. It is up to you to plug into it. Think about it. How do I plug in? I have friends who are tomato farmers. I have friends who are who are into large scale and mechanized farming and agriculture. I'm talking about people like Daddy Are, Afe Babalola, who has a huge farm and all that. So this is the future. Let us make this happen. I've blocked this guy. He's saying he's an orphan. I've blocked him. All these guys are comedians. Don't give them any money. Don't give them any money. I blocked his other account. He came with another account. Please block them. So that's the way forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. God bless you. I'm going to be doing a teaching tomorrow. I look forward to having you all around. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. God bless.